How's it going, everybody? My name is Ryan45678 and welcome back to the 1976 Honda MR175 Elsinore project. And in this video we're going to be going through this new to me carburetor because, as you can see, that thing, the original to my bike, was a piece of junk. And half the parts were rusted to you know what. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm going to clean this all off before we get started in case you're about to have a panic attack. Basically, this carburetor looked great on eBay. They even took the float ball off. All the parts were there and they looked like parts and not a sludge of mess, so that's why I had this one. And luckily I got a good deal on it. It was about $55 plus shipping and tax, so it ended up being about $70. But it's a good carburetor. These are hard to find. I saw worse on eBay for like 200 bucks, and just the bottom or the top half for like 60 bucks, so you can't beat that. Alright, so if you've seen my previous video on the old carburetor, then you know we gotta take all this junk off first, the hoses mostly. So that shouldn't be too bad. It's just mostly just, this one should come off pretty easy. Yeah, just set it aside. This one, I don't even know what these are for, to be honest, but they need to come off. I don't know why this one's so short. It should be like this one. Maybe they cut it, who knows. Anyway, it should just pull off. There we go. This one might need some pliers. Don't worry, I'm not using these hoses again, so it doesn't matter, especially this one because it's not even the right size, not length, I mean. There we go. Next is this one. These will work, I think, although really you could do this by hand. And it's coming off anyway, so it should be good, I think. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. I think that's it. What I'd like to do first, like I did last time, is clean the outside because it's filthy, and then we'll take it apart. So since the seller took the bowl off, they didn't really put the screws back, they just kind of threaded them in there, so I'm going to close up the bowl and then go wash this in the sink. Alright, so now basically the same disassembly. I'm going to take the idle screw out. Go. I'll keep the outside parts on the left. There is an air jet in here on this side. The screwdriver will reach. So this is just like a fixed jet, I guess. It's not adjustable. The other one is. I'll take that out in a second. Air jet. This one here is adjustable. It has a spring in it. And don't worry, I have the numbers from what the original carburetor on the bike was set to. Not that it really matters because I have no idea how it ran before, so I'll probably end up going back to stock settings. So this air jet right here. And don't forget the spring. It's kind of stuck in there. There we go. I believe that is it for that. There's 3. And there is the choke, obviously, which we'll need to take down this locking tab, which I think you could do just fine with a screwdriver. I hate locking tabs, to be honest. They're so annoying. They're annoying to get off and they're hard to get back on. This one wouldn't be, I don't think would be too bad to get back on. It's just the ones that are really stuck inside of a case. Really frustrating. So that should be good enough. There's one on the other side too. I also hate them because you end up scratching things. So, I mean, I don't know how else to go about undoing them. A little bit more. Perfect. There we go. A tiny bit more on this side. Yeah. Now I should be able to just get a wrench on there. If I remember right, I think it was a 14 millimeter. That seems right. Yeah, I don't like it still, but try a 13 just in case. No, it's got to be a 14. And the way I did this last time was just kind of, I think I flipped on this side because it's bigger, and then, no, I had it the other way. Because you need to get downward. Like that, and that came off really easily, which is why it had a locking nut, I assume. Or locking tab, whatever. There we go. Now this whole assembly basically is going to stay like that because it's a little bit tricky to put together, just like that one I left alone. There we go. Keep that there. I think that's it for the outside, so I'm gonna wash this off a little bit, just like here, or wipe it actually, could probably do it. Yeah, that'll do, and all this dirt will come off when we put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm not going to put all the jets in there with it. I'm just going to put it in there separate and then do the jets and stuff later. So really for this you probably should use a JIS screwdriver bit thing. But I'm lazy and these are really already loose, so I'm not going to do it. When I put them back on, I will. Except for this one because I remember I couldn't get to it on the other carburetor because of this dumb thing. I should have took the bowl nut off first, but I can do that after I take the screws off. Alright. And would you look at that? That is a beautiful carburetor compared to what I had. I mean, it needs to be cleaned, but not much. And this thing is like immaculate inside compared to the other one. So let me just look at this really quick. Let me get the bowl nut off. I got water everywhere. Bowl nut is pretty big. I think it's like well, I need a socket for it though. I think it was a 17, so yeah. And then it should just come off with a ratchet. Like, don't do that. I'm going to put it on this side and just go for it. Be careful because this is a shallow little thing. Put it on this side. There we go. And I guess that goes to show you shouldn't have to tighten this much when you go to put it back on, because it is brass going into like aluminum, so, and it wasn't on very tight to begin with. So we'll put that there. And that is almost disassembled. This is getting into the inside pieces. So let me get this wet paper towel out of the way. That's just water from when I washed it, and it doesn't matter that it got in because it's not sitting there, and I'm going to be cleaning it in the ultrasonic cleaner, which has water anyway. Dang, that float actually moves. The jet looks stuck or like it's not on there right, but oh, don't tell me it's missing the piece, the little fork thing. I think it might be. That sucks if it is. The one that actually pulls the jet up. Let's just keep going. There's a tiny jet in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Down in there, real small. I don't know what you call that, but it's pretty tiny. It's gonna take, no, this screwdriver might be too small. Yeah, it's a little too small. I don't want to break the screwdriver. This one I think might be just perfect. Yeah. If I can get it to screw. Ah, man. So it turns out I think this big one is going to fit. Thing is it too big? I don't think so. Maybe. Alright, so I've fiddled with this for a while with the wrong size screwdrivers. I think I finally found one that'll fit. It's a Husky, I guess 1/8. I don't know what that even means as far as like if it's this or this, what. But it fits in there and it actually has a handle, so it should come out. There we go. That's score 1 for using the right tools and not being a lazy person like me. This jet's probably going to be pretty boogered up. It should be fine still. Although I have to say I restrained myself quite a bit and didn't. Ew, that's pretty bad still. I have a new one. I might use it because that's bad and there's like metal shavings in it now. That's what you get for being impatient, being a dum-dum like I am. It's totally my fault though. It was fine before. Maybe what I'll do is get the old one out from the original carburetor, if I can even do that. But anyway, that's good. The next step would be, I guess, getting this bowl gasket off, which is nasty and stuck on, so it's going to be a challenge. I do have a pick. Might be too big though. Let's try this first. Just a screwdriver. Just trying to come up. It's also got stuff stuck all over it. Yeah, I don't like that. See if I can get a corner, and if I can get a corner up, I can pull the rest of it. Or really, if I can get any of it up, I can get the rest. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me try a pick. Although the pick that I have is also massive, and it's not going to do any good, so screw that. A bigger screwdriver. Maybe. Maybe. Yes. And it broke it. Oh gosh, if that's what this is going to be like. At least I can get to it now. I can just use a little screwdriver like this one and push it up, I guess. I really don't like that. Anyway, oh, there we go. I got a little bit. If I can keep from breaking it, I can get the screwdriver underneath and just pry it up as we go. Oh, except it breaks again. There we go. This is like the hardest O-ring that I've seen. This probably was the original one on the bike, whatever bike this came off of. So yeah. Oh, there it goes. A little bit more anyway. Oh, half of it's gone. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. See if I can get this last little bit. Nope. Nope, get out of there. Oop, be careful, I don't want to scratch this. I think it'll all come off. No, it never does. Of course. Last little bit. There we go. Yeah, that actually came off surprisingly better, easier than I thought it would. So, there we go. Got bowl gasket off. The bottom is done. Let's move on to the other side. This thing. So I need to know, first off. Okay, it does have this little thing. Oh, okay. I was wrong on how this works. There's like a... It's probably supposed to spring or something that it's not doing. So, this... Wow, that's amazing. I've never seen in all the times that I've taken apart like lawnmower carburetors, I've never seen a float with a float, whatever you call it, a float pin that just pulls out like that. Never in my life. So if I remember, the float goes like that, like your, if you are the toilet, if this was the seat, this is, I don't know why, this is just the thing that came to mind, and it goes in that way. So, I guess, I don't think it really matters, because it would probably go in either way. Yeah, it looks like it would. Yeah, it goes in either way, so it doesn't actually matter. Well, okay, tell you what, for the direction to put the pin in, just the, I mean, do you really want to try to put a pin through there? I don't think you could physically do it. So, wow, look at that float. That is amazing. That's so good. Anyway, the float. I guess that's the adjustment for the float. I'm not really sure. Anyway, float pin and needle valve. Actually moves, which is amazing. Okay. Obviously, we have a new one of these. This one's pretty shot, it looks like. Hopefully you can see it's not even pointy at all. Alright, next. This little thing. I'm going to use my JIS bits for this because I don't know how tight they are in there. I know I say this every video, but if you don't know what JIS bits are, they're Japanese industrial standard, and if you're working on an old Japanese bike, there's a really good chance, like probably almost 100%, that the screws you need to take out are not Phillips head, they're JIS, and you will strip out the heads if you try to use a Phillips. You might get lucky, and they'll be okay, but I wouldn't bank on it. Alright, so I'm going to take careful note of the order which this came off in. So basically the float assembly came off first. You could have taken this off, but just for the sake of it, the float will be the last thing we put back on, and this thing underneath it will be second. I actually don't know what this is. I thought it was a little mover thing for the float, but it's actually not. It's probably more likely that the float, or that the needle is supposed to be gravity controlled, so since this would be upside down, the float would be up in the hole, and it would naturally fall down and let gas in, and when the float comes up, it pushes it back up. So it doesn't need, I assume, I don't know, I could be wrong. From what I can tell, that's how it looks like it's supposed to work. Okay, so we got this thing, I'll keep that together. and it goes down that way. With the flat side facing there, but just make sure you look at it when you take it off. The next thing is this jet, which is part of the main jet, I think. That is some sort of socket. I think it's an 8mm, because that's what I have from doing it last time. And I need a smaller ratchet. What is this? That's too big. There we go. There's an 8mm. That's also too big. So it's more like a 6. Yeah, that's a 6mm. I already had put it up because yeah, it's actually not even that bad. So this goes on. Then the jet holder, this is the thing that was rusted to crap on mine. I would not put that back in a good carburetor. So this, just for the sake of it, I'll kind of line these up if I can. If nothing else, just for the video, because I can go back and look at the video and see how these were done. Another stupid locking tab. I hate those things with a passion. Because I think these bikes were made before Loctite was a thing, so you had to use a locking tab, I guess. Or I guess not even just Loctite, but thread locker in general. But I don't understand is how they expect you to get these off without damaging things. Like, especially in the engine case, there was a couple in there. Like, mainly the clutch nut had one. That baffles me that they would, I mean, it makes sense that they would have that there, but it baffles me that they would expect you to be able to do it without damage. So, see if I can get down in this one. Yeah, they're actually not too bad. These ones, you just kind of get down in there, unlock it. And really, you should probably use a new one every time, but I'm probably going to Loctite it since it has a locking tab, and then you also use the locking tab just because of the way it's designed. It's supposed to have it there. So this one, I believe, was the 8mm actually. So yeah, doesn't need to be a long one. That's just the one I could find that was an 8mm. There we go. Not bad. Okay, this main jet and the locking tab come out like that. They go in there. Like that, basically. And then this jet, I'll use this handy dandy, no, it's too small. I'll use this screwdriver to take this jet out. I forget what this one is called. It's not the main jet. Wait, is it the idle jet? I don't know. I'll have to look in the manual to see what these are called. But that one goes in there. Definitely, probably dirty. I don't know. Let me get the, see if I can get these screws out with this. I don't, maybe too big, but nope, no such thing. Whatever this plate is, I don't know, but it'll be like the first thing we put back on, because it's about the last we took off. Honestly, this thing is really simple. I've seen some diagrams and seen people take apart some carburetors that look really, really freaking complicated. So I will just take this off and set it as is. Well, screw that. And this, I believe, yeah, it just comes out. Okay, I forgot. This is the needle seat. I have a new one. I don't know when you're supposed to replace it. Obviously, the O-ring's probably junk on it, but anyway, I'll just put that there now. And I believe that we are fully disassembled. And this thing is ready to be cleaned. And after that, it'll be ready to put back together. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the body first. We'll put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. I need to dump my pine sol out of it because I have some water with a little bit of pine sol. I'm just going to use soap and water because I don't trust pine sol or anything now. So yeah, let me do that and I'll show you guys when it's done. I mean, it's literally, I've done this in other videos. If you want to actually watch me do that, or if you want me to make a separate video on ultrasonic cleaning, I can. I'm not an expert on it. I just do it because it's way better than trying to use carburetor cleaner, in my opinion. So yeah, let me pop these in there and then I'll show you how they turn out. And then I'll do the same with the inside parts and the outside parts. Probably keep them separate. Alright, these came out great. This one more so. It got really clean. There's still a little bit of dirt. I'm not going to worry about it. It's nitpicky little places, but yeah, what I found, I probably would have been fine the way it is, but what I did is I took some throttle body and air intake cleaner because I couldn't find a carb cleaner can that that would actually spray. But anyway, I took that, sprayed out the holes just to make sure, and they're all good. And then I took some Gibbs oil, kind of rubbed it all around, sprayed it a little bit in the holes. I mean, it's a penetrating oil, and there's literally going to be gas and oil mix in there, so I don't think it's going to hurt it. So that's that. Let me show you the bowl. This one was a little bit more work. It still turned out really good. Same kind of thing. I used throttle body air intake cleaner afterwards, which actually ended up helping to break up some of this stuff at the bottom and the gunk on the edge. I still had to use a toothpick though to get all this off. And it's still not 100% all gone, but it's enough to where it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt the seal of the O-ring. So that's good. Let's take a look at these parts. They just finished. What I did was I actually tried a trick that somebody mentioned. I forget who it was, but a few people mentioned it. Putting stuff in little jars with some of the solution. I didn't have jars, so I have bags. Just so you keep them separate. Mostly I did that so I can keep the parts themselves separate. Some people do it because like if you want to clean jewelry and motorcycle parts, you obviously don't want to have to wash the stupid thing out every single time. So these are like inside outside jets and stuff, and they're pretty hot, so I'm gonna leave these here for now. And then the other parts are the choke and the bowl nut. So I'm gonna take these out. They're hot. I'm gonna clean them at some point. Probably the same kind of thing, scrub with dishwashing soap and all that, and then give some Gibbs oil just so they don't corrode or whatever. And then that'll be that for that. So in the jets I'm going to spray out with some of the throttle body air intake cleaner, but that's pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. So I'm just going to do all that off camera to save some video time. I mean, I've done this before. Well, no, I haven't. I mean, it's pretty simple. You spray the jet. If it's clogged, it's not going to spray anything through. If it isn't, then it'll spray. It should be like a mist. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go do that, and I'll see you guys when it's done. Alright, so something I thought I would show you guys while I'm doing this is the choke thing actually comes apart. This goes in here. This is the choke mechanism. I'm trying to keep these here so I don't get them mixed up. But you just pull it off, because this was really dirty on the inside. I needed to clean it, so there you go. Should be good. I'll definitely put some oil on this before I put it back together though, because it's definitely needs it. Alright, so I'm going to put this back together right where I have it, just so I do it right. So a little bit of Gibbs oil in there. And put it in here. A little bit more. Yeah, that's good. This is not like a huge moving part. It moves sometimes, so it's not too big of a deal. This thing goes like that. And I'm not sure about the orientation of the locking tab, but we can figure that out. I think it's like that or something. We'll figure it out when we put it back on the carburetor, which is not yet. This goes this came off first. This goes like that inside it with this. This goes underneath, and there we go. We'll just have to make sure that this little tab thing, I think I might have got that upside down. Yeah, because that doesn't look right at all. It needs to fit in with that little thing as a lever mechanism. That's more like it. Okay, choke is back together, pretty much, ready to go back on the bike. I mean the carburetor. And then the float bowl is another thing. It has some holes. I'll blow those out with the spray, and then we should be good. Alright, last little thing I'm going to try before we get to the jets to clean them. I need to get this O-ring out for the bowl nut. Not sure the best way to do it, honestly. I don't have a pick very small. Alright, I think I almost got it. I just kind of pried up and it started coming loose. You just kind of jam it in there pretty good. Oh, there we go. That worked great. Way better than I thought it was ever going to. So that's the bowl nut gasket off. It's a little bit dirty. That could go in the ultrasonic cleaner, or actually probably just scrub with a toothbrush and soap. So I'll do that in a little bit. Let's check on these parts. I actually had plans today, so I left these in here while the water was hot, just to kind of let them soak some more. And I think it's going to be pretty clean. These, I believe, are the outside parts. Yeah, they look pretty good. I don't know how much cleaner they got, but there is dirt in the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to go spray the jets off with some of that throttle body intake cleaner. And then I'll show you guys how they come out. And the same with the inside pieces as well. Looks like it got quite a bit of dirt off, which is a good thing. The non-jet pieces, though, I'm just going to wash off because I don't need to spray them with anything. They're pretty much clean. Alright guys, so it is the moment of truth. It is time to reassemble this bad boy. First, let me start off with the rebuild kit that I have. It has the bowl gasket. It doesn't have as many parts as I thought it would. It doesn't have the air screw, so which actually isn't as bad as I thought it was. It still has enough depth to be good. I just kind of boogered it up, which just kind of makes me sad and mad at myself for being lazy. But it should be fine. It does not have the gasket or the O-ring for the bowl nut. However, I do have an O-ring kit from Harbor Freight. It has one that's close. It's a little bit big, but if you finagle it enough, it'll go in there, and I'm sure that'll hopefully at least be a good temporary fix to keep it from leaking. So what I'm going to do is, when I put this back together, I'm going to try some water. Actually, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put this in there, and hopefully it'll be good enough to seal it. I don't have super high hopes for it, but I'm at least hoping it'll be a good temporary fix, like I said. Yeah, I'm going to just leave that hand tight. So that's I guess the first step, technically. I'm going to go fill this with water and see what happens. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm going to do this, not right this second, because I really wanted to get this thing fully put together today, like in real time. So I think what I'll do is I'll hold off on the final assembly until tomorrow, my time. It'll still be this video. I'll just do the assembly of everything except putting the bowl back on. That way I can test this, because it's late and I don't want to be using an air compressor to blow out water, just so I can put this thing back together today. So I'll do the water test and then we'll put it back together fully tomorrow. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but hopefully you can. There's, as far as I can tell, no water even coming out of there, so I think we were good. Yeah, so that's fine, as is. So that means that I'll just have to order an actual bowl gasket for this O-ring or whatever. Yeah, so that's good news. That means that we don't need, we can order a gasket, but we can still run the bike with this. Honestly, it'd probably be fine to run it like that, but I'd rather get the real thing, just so it'll fit right. Anyway, let's get together, or let's continue with the assembly. Like I was saying, the new parts I do have are the bowl gasket. This I think is a top gasket for the slide part, which we're not going to be doing in this video, just because that's when it goes on the bike. And this is the new needle valve assembly. Which honestly, looking at this one, the old one didn't look any different really. Like if, well, I mean not the assembly, but the tip looks about the same. So the old one is here. It looks exactly the same, to be honest. So I don't really know what the difference is. This one has a spring in it. I guess this one does too, I didn't realize. It honestly looks good, but since I have a new one, I'm going to use it because I can see some wear on here where this has kind of been worn down, so it's better to use a new one. Definitely a new assembly for this, although this one, see, this is what I did, why I did the oil, because it gets like this light thin thing of, looks like corrosion starting. This is, yeah, I mean that's honestly probably okay, besides the O-ring obviously. So if I have any issues with that, then I might reuse this, so I'm going to keep it. But I'd prefer to use the new one if I can. So let's go ahead and drop that in there. It should go pretty easily. The O-ring might squish a little bit. I don't know if these holes matter. I don't think they do because it's kind of recessed. So, but I'll try to line them up if I can. Let's get a little bit of oil in there. Let it not have so much resistance to going in. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And I believe that's about how much the old one stuck up, so that's perfect. And drop the new needle valve thing in there. Get this some oil too. Just a little. It's probably a little too much, but too much is better than not enough. And so, like I said, I think the way this works is the float this is upside down, so the float would push it up when it's full of gas, and then when it's not, it would just kind of drop and let gas in until the float pushes it back up. Now this is where we need to be careful and make sure we get everything in the right order back together. So I believe it was this jet, one of these jets actually. I know this one for a fact went in here, but I'm trying to remember when each one went where. I think this plate was the last thing. So like, no, it's not. This main jet for sure screws in down in here. I know that for a fact. Man, okay, this locking tab for sure goes in with it. It goes like right here. And I think that's how it went. And then this goes something like that. Oh, okay. There we go. That's how it goes. I had it backwards, so this jet, I don't think it actually matters when the plate goes on, because that jet just kind of sticks in. So I'm going to kind of put these in just how they are for now. And then afterwards, I believe, the jet holder goes see, it might actually be that this goes on first. Yeah, I need the parts diagram. I'm sorry, I just can't remember exactly how this goes back together. Cool. So I'm pretty sure I know how it goes now. I think I had it the right way. Basically, this goes in. This jet just takes so long to screw in that it's kind of hard to really tell, but this needs to go there. And we'll tighten these up in a second, but I'll show you really quick. This goes here. This jet holder goes here, and then this jet goes in and screws that, holds it on. Yeah, just like that. So I'll get this jet in first. That's the 8mm. So we'll get it in. It doesn't need to be super tight, and I'm not gonna Loctite it because I'm just thinking about it. These are brass, and I really don't want to strip out brass the next time this comes apart, either me or somebody else. So I'm just gonna get it snug. You don't need to tighten it too much. And then we'll put the locking tab up with screwdriver. I think that'll work. That's kind of how I got these down. Okay, that could have been way worse. Didn't hit anything hard, landed on power cords. I don't think it even got dirt in there. I'm an idiot though, for thinking that that wouldn't happen. Okay, don't do that. Let's use this screwdriver. Just kind of push on it. Like that. There we go. That's one. Get the next one. Be very careful. I'll kind of pry off this little piece just to start it right here until it pries up, and then I can get a good leverage without flying the carburetor across the room. Probably should take this jet out. And then just kind of poke it. There we go. You should probably replace these, but I forgot to check if they have if I can get new ones of these, but it'll be fine this one time. So put this jet back in. We'll actually tighten it with the screwdriver actually. Okay, should be good. Get that plate on. And it's pretty easy to tell which way it goes because the square thing lines up with the locking tab right there. And you can also see the screws where they touched it, so should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to start these with the Phillips just because that's what I have right now. I'll get the JIS in a second. I just want to get these started. They do have lock washers on them, so you don't really need to torque them down. Yeah. That's good. It might even be too much, I don't know. Okay, the jet holder right there, like I said. And then we'll get this one. This is the, is it the 6mm? I think it is. Yeah, that's the 6. And yeah, it does not need to be super tight, just a little snug. Because it's brass into brass. That should be good. Oh no, I lost the needle Thank goodness, luckily it was just right there, and it's wood floor, so it didn't do any damage. I'm still an idiot for that. Yeah, no dirt, so we're good. Just pop that back in. Alright, the last thing before we put the float back on is this little piece, which I don't even know what it does besides... Yeah, okay, I do. It just holds this in there. Because otherwise, it would just fall out. I mean, the old one would. The new one wouldn't. Anyway, the flat side, I remember, went on the carburetor, and that makes sense. Or on the flat aluminum. And then there's this one little screw. No lock washer or anything. I don't know what made them decide what to put lock washers and locking tabs on and what not. Because, like, you would think it would all come loose the same way, potentially. I guess not. I don't know. Once again. And I really should have bought the screwdriver set, but most of the screws that I've dealt with so far until now have been like case screws and screws that need an impact to come off, and probably should have one to go on as well. So just tighten that. That's good, I think. The impact doesn't really let me turn it all the way without trying to be an impact. So, or turn the direction of the impact. I guess if I do it again, it shouldn't. That's good, that's good. Don't want to overdo it. The other last thing is the outside parts, I guess. But we'll do that in a little bit. That's why I kept them separate. So next, we will do the float. So I'll take the float. I don't know if this needs any adjustment or not. I guess we'll find out, but anyway, we just put this back in. Just like that. And it looks like it, let's see, it's pretty much all the way in. If it's pretty full, that would be like pretty full, so I think that's fine. And then it'll let gas in enough, in my opinion, so yeah. I don't know. I guess when you put it back together, you can do the air test with gravity and such. So yeah, that's this whole part reassembled, besides the bottom, the bowl and all that. While we're here, I'll go ahead and put this air jet back in just so I don't forget, and using the proper screwdriver this time. Man, I'm still mad about that. Mad at myself for messing that up. But let's see if we can get that to go in. I think it's going. There we go. I take it? Yeah, it is moving. So we'll just get that in there good. So that's back in there. We're good with that. So I'm just going to put it on there with like 1 or 2 screws just so we can do the rest of it without kind of messing anything up, if you know what I mean. I could prefer not to lose the float or damage the float while I'm putting the rest of the carburetor back together, because I can't exactly set it down on itself with the float like that, which means I probably should have done that before, but before doing the float, but anyway, it's whatever. So I'll just put these 2 screws on loosely. So first, we'll do this other air screw, which goes right in. My klutz today. It goes right in here. I'll use, I think this screwdriver will work. Yeah, just like that. Hopefully you can see that, but it's just the air screw that goes right in here. I'm going to use the other screwdriver just to get it started, and then to get the full width of the screw, because this keeps going up and down in the screw hole, and it's gonna hit on something. So I'm just gonna use this one. There we go. This final tightening. Good. Should be good anyway. Yeah. Yep, that's good. That's about as tight as I'm comfortable doing without possibly damaging it, which I may have already, honestly. Yeah, that was too tight, so got some metal flakes. Just full of those today. Just a tiny bit from over tightening a little bit. Yeah, I don't have any choice really but to put it back in. Although, no, it didn't come with a new one. Of course it didn't. But that's my fault. Basically just snug it, and then one little, small little tight extra turn, I guess, is it for these things. They don't really need much. There we go. And especially now that I've kind of messed with it. It should be good. Of course, I'm going to sit there and do it again. I am a freaking idiot. Why do I keep doing that? I tighten it, and then I think it's not enough, and I over-tighten it. Get freaking dum-dum. Don't do that, guys. Don't be an idiot like me. It looks worse than it is. I think the screwdriver just might not be the right size. So it's grabbing good on this side, and then this side is barely touching, so when I try to tighten it more, it's just destroying it, unfortunately. So let's try this one more time. So really, honestly, just seating it should be good. And that's good. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not touching it again. I'm really bad with these jets. So that's my fault. But anyway, the next piece we got is this air screw, which goes in here. I think that's it. Just the spring in the screw. So this one we had, I think, 1.5 turns out, which I believe is stock for this. Let's use the screwdriver. So we'll get this lightly seated and then turn it out 1.5 turns. And I think there's something about, I don't know, we'll see. About 1.5 is probably good. That's it. So I think it was assuming straight up and down here, so it's like just start from there. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 1.5 turns. That should be good. Next is the idle screw, which that'll have to be adjusted, but I'll put it back to where it was on the original carburetor, which is like 8 turns out, which is a lot. But this is a long screw, a lot of threads, so there we go. I hope this thing can take 8 turns out, I don't know. Yeah, it should be able to. Go. So same thing, kind of just assuming that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like almost all the way out. So I don't know, that's probably definitely gonna have to be adjusted. I'll probably put it in some, so like two turns, full turns. That'll be good, I think, because I don't know what it's supposed to be at. Last thing I guess is the choke, which also has a locking tab, and I guess the locking tab just goes on here like that. You can see that. Let's get a little bit of oil on that, because I definitely want this to be oiled. And just stick it in there. Get that screwed in. We gotta make sure we get this lever mechanism lined up correctly, because you don't want it out here where it's not going to get it. You want it pretty much flat against that, I think, yeah. Or pretty darn close to where it's like, it's going to ride smooth, so. Get that screwed in really quick. Just make sure we hold the locking tab in place for now, because once that gets down, it's not going to be easy to get it back. Honestly, in the middle like that, I think it's fine. It's going to be hard to tell, though, until we get it totally locked in. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be good. Just leave it like that. So get that tightened with these 14 millimeter. I'm going to put a finger on that thing back here, just so it stays where I want it. And that's probably good. Tighten it one more, and that's pretty much lined up. Turn it this way a little more, but loosen it to do that. There we go. And we'll just tighten it. I honestly don't know if it matters, but I'm just gonna do it if I can. There we go, that's perfect. We have a locking tab, so it's not like it's going anywhere. Perfect. Choke works. Let's get our nice and smooth too, really. Okay, let's get our locking tab set. Push it up from here. I seriously don't like these at all, because there's so much potential of damaging things. Like even just my fingers right there, I don't like. Let's grab this other one. This one's a little bit easier because you get some pry area. I still don't like doing that because it's damaging other pieces, but anyway. See, now it won't go all the way. I guess you're supposed to use a hammer or something. There we go. That one's good. Yeah, let me do the bottom part of it. So there we go. Perfect. And this one. It's like right in line to hurt my hand too. I don't like it. Perfect. We're done with that monstrosity. Perfect. So let's grab, take these nuts out. Actually, let me test the float really quick. It should let air in now. I can't tell if it is or not. Ugh. It's almost like I need some fuel line. Oh wait, I have some. Alright, so I have a genius solution. New fuel line. It's going in. It should not be going in. Perfect. It is functional. So let me take this off. Like that. It's a little bit longer than the original, but you can always cut it shorter. You can't cut it longer, so that's good. That's new. We'll go ahead and do the same with these other lines. It's like 2 of them. I don't know what they're even for, honestly. Obviously, these are top-notch quality scissors to be cutting fuel line with. I recommend everyone use these. If you didn't catch the sarcasm there, that was sarcasm. They work. They're not perfect, but they work. I'm just lazy, again. There we go. And then might as well cut this one as well for whatever it went to. When it goes there and it goes down, I don't know why, but it does, so we're going to do it. About here. Alright, so next thing's next. Not right this second because this thing is still wet and needs to dry. But next thing we will be doing is putting this bowl gasket on and putting the bowl on. And what that entails is getting this thing to shape to this and hold that shape, which is a task in itself. Not sure exactly when did I cut myself? I don't remember. Of course, as I say that, it's probably going to perfectly go on. No, not really. Yeah, that proves my point. It's a little bit of a troublemaker. So that's how it's supposed to go. It does fit. It is the right size. It's just that it doesn't like to stay in the grooves. Gotta get in the groove, man. Anyway, if it would just stay like this. Maybe I'll leave it overnight, who knows. Man, yeah, it's not going to want to do that without some coaxing. So, yeah, while this dries, I will be sleeping. I don't know why I even mentioned that, but anyway. This, I really am mad at myself about this stupid air jet. This one was already damaged a little bit, not much, from the original carburetor. I might use that, but I think it's fine. It just looks bad because I messed it up like an idiot. But it's a jet. It's gonna work. So anyway, that's good for now. So whenever this is dry, we will get back to it and we'll see if we can get this gasket on. If I can, like I said, maybe I could get it to hold that shape if I can get it to stay there. And then leave it overnight, but I seriously doubt it. Honestly, that's probably as good as it's going to get. I'll leave that one corner not functioning. Unless I can get it to stay. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to stay, but if I can get it to stay with most of the corners overnight, I'll be happy. And yeah, that's good enough. And that'll at least kind of get it holding its shape for a little bit, and hopefully we'll be okay. Alright, so it's been a little past overnight. I think all the water is pretty much gone from here. Yeah, so I'm going to try to put it back together. Hopefully this O-ring will stay where it's supposed to go. That's honestly going to be the hardest part, is this O-ring gasket thing. Let me try it like this. Maybe it'll just kind of get how it's supposed to be. I know that's wishful thinking, but what else am I going to do? No. That feels good. I think it did. I think it did it. I don't know how to know, but honestly, I think it's okay. So before I lose it, let me screw these screws in. Get these lock washers tight. See, this is the one that doesn't go. Or it's not going to be tightenable from that position with this screwdriver. So I will have to use the non-impact for that one, unfortunately. So we'll tighten this all the way. It's a lock washer, so you don't need to really be crazy with it. Just tighten it down. There we go. Okay. The last one, we'll have to be very careful. Normal screwdriver. There we go. That's good. These screws are in. And that is the carburetor assembled, besides this top slide part, which we'll do in another video when we get the throttle cable hooked up. Actually, while we're here, I'll just go ahead and put the new clean this up, and I'll put the new hoses on it, fuel line. Cool. And I will have to, let me do it now while I remember. Get some of these clamps as well. I do have new ones of some of these, but if I can reuse the old ones, I will. I should have put it on the other side, so I'll keep this one on, well, it'll go. Here we go. Yeah, this is the point where I'm so lazy that I'll like work harder to do stuff. Alright, so I was recording, I thought the camera was recording, it missed some parts, I think. I don't know exactly what, but anyway, afterwards I got stuck on this one. The old clamp thing was not working. I think it got bent somehow, or somebody probably used pliers on it. So it was not going over that little inlet thing or outlet or whatever. So I do have a new one. I'm going to use that instead. I'm going to put it over. It's actually a different style. Interesting. But it'll serve the same purpose. Or actually, I do have a couple of others that are used. But they're nasty. Like this one's pretty dirty. Let me see if I can clean it off. And if I can, I'll use it, because I'd rather have the original style. I'll just kind of put it over where it's going to be anyway. The other one I couldn't get it to go over with the clamp there. We'll see if this one will. It's going to go, so that's good. And it's in. Awesome. So I'm happy with that. Those are in. And I figured while we're at it, I might as well go ahead and get the top piece. So instead of waiting, I'm just going to do that now because I kind of need the throttle cable off anyway. Alright, I don't have much light over here, but hopefully you guys can see this. This is the top part, and the throttle cable is down in here. You see that little groove? It kind of goes in there. If I push, it comes up. So basically, I think what we have to do, I've never done this before, just take it to where it comes up. That's not what I thought. Alright, so it doesn't work at all how I thought it would. So it looks like there is a little spring in there. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a U shape that we need to get, and I think if we squish that, then you need to be very careful because this slides up and down precisely. If we get in there and let it loose, I think it's way easier said than done. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little horseshoe shape, and let me get some light. It looks like there's a little curly Q on the end of those that you kind of stick your pliers into. If I move the spring, maybe it'll help. Because it might even help me, because I can barely see it. Yeah. Hold the spring back. And then you can kind of see down in there. This little clippies right there is it. And then I guess we got to pull that out somehow. Which, with it being right on the, oh, there we go. If you can see that, I kind of pulled one side up, and then I'll get the next side up. Like that. Perfect, just like that. And then this whole plate comes up with the needle valve, or the needle, and then the throttle cable, I think. Yes, and then the throttle cable, if we, sorry, I know you can't see that. That plate came up, and then the throttle cable, if we push it in, and it, actually, I'll let the spring loose, just so I don't have to hold all that. I don't think it'll go enough without it. So we'll push it, get the throttle cable out. Like that, right? I think it will come up with the plate. Yeah, there we go. Get the slide off. Okay, and that goes with this little snubby thing sticking up. Cool. So the next thing with that, it should be pretty easy. This cap, I think, just pulls off just like that. Probably shouldn't have yanked it so hard, but anyway, that means this throttle cable can be taken off and we don't have to worry about it anymore. So yeah, I'll bring these over to the bench and I'll show you guys, and I'll clean them up, and I guess I won't assemble any of it yet until we get a new throttle cable. Alright, so sorry, I know, I don't know how much of a good angle it's going to be from taking this off, but I'll show you really quick. This is the inside of it. You can see kind of how it goes in there, hopefully. Basically, the needle comes in this way, just like that. This plate, well, this plate goes in there, and I believe it keeps the, mostly keeps the throttle cable from going anywhere, and it also keeps the needle from going anywhere. You can see if you push it, it doesn't come up unless it's loose. So that's that. And this clip obviously keeps the plate down, and the spring goes on there. This goes in. The throttle cable goes in that little tiny hole. I'll show you this hole in the plate. You kind of have to put them in there at the same time, so I guess you would put the throttle cable in, stick the plate in there, run the throttle cable around, and then let it go in its little hole. Yeah, that's pretty much that. It's really dirty, so I'm going to clean it. I'm not going to show that because you've seen me clean enough things. It's basically the same. And this is the clip. This is where you decide kind of, I think, how much like the richness of the idle. I don't know if it's the idle or the throttle. I'll have to research, but it's the needle. Whatever you adjust the needle clip for is what this does. So I will, however, make note that this is on, if you're going from the top, because the needle sits this way, that's on the second notch from the top. So I will write that down so I don't forget. Yeah, one more thing, this little gasket here on the top is the one that I'll be replacing. That's nasty. That's the one that came in the kit right here, this one. So that should be pretty simple. This is probably going to take some of that throttle body intake cleaner to get that gunk off. Alright, so just really quick, if you don't know how to get the clip off the needle, don't try to do it with your hands. You're not going to be able to. Basically, take some pliers. I rub these because they're round pliers, I guess. They don't have teeth on them, is what I mean. So you just, first time worked better, but there you go. Pull it off. And I'm going to clean this. It's actually not too bad, really, but anyway, to put it back on, it's the reverse. It's a little bit tricky because if you push from the back, it's gonna do that, and it's not gonna. Well, actually, it went on that time, but the first 3 times I tried that, it didn't go on, and then I'm just gonna double check and push on it, make sure it's in, and it is. So, yeah, I'm gonna pull this back off and clean it. I don't know if you're supposed to reuse these, but it looks fine, so I don't see why not. Same with the needle. It looks about the same. And the old one is probably just as good. So, because what I've heard is with these replacement kits, they're not always exactly a good replacement. So, if I can reuse the old ones, I will, because they're original parts. Alright, so this thing turned out pretty great. No longer has rust on it. I think this stuff tends to eat coatings off that aren't steel, like whatever this might have been. Because I remember this being yellow before. So I don't know if that was a coating or if that was just from how it was sitting in there, but anyway, definitely going to do my usual and put a little bit of Gibbs oil on it just so it doesn't rust further. I mean, not that it is right now, but just so it doesn't rust. And since we're here, I'll go ahead and put the clip back on, the needle clip. A little bit of residual Gibbs oil. These pieces are small, so they're pretty much already dry. Oh, that's not good. Whew, luckily I found it, so crisis averted. Not the first time for something like that either. See, small pieces, they always, the worst time, want to fly away from you. So, careful this time and push it on. Use the side if I can. That's on. Awesome. Alright, so this actually came out really nice. It took some of that intake and throttle body cleaner and just scrubbing with a toothpick. I got most of the junk out. and then just kind of washing it off. It took a while, but it did it, so I'm happy. So let's just put this gasket on while we have it here, so don't forget. And then, I mean, I guess it's gonna fall out if I just leave it there. But anyway, I'll keep that in there, and then once we get a throttle cable, we will totally reassemble this by putting the slide part back on the new throttle cable. And then essentially after that, it'll be as simple as screwing this back onto the carburetor, if I can get it. There we go. Obviously with the gasket and the throttle cable and the slide connected and everything, but it's as simple as that. Alright, we got the throttle cable, so that means we can put the top back on this carburetor. So let's do it. Should be pretty straightforward, I think. So we'll start with this end. Man, that's pretty. It cleaned up really good, so just keep that gasket on there. I don't think it matters which way. The cable's got some extra bits from the casting. It's a cheap Chinese cable. It's the only one I could find. I mean, not the only one, but the only cables that I found were cheap Chinese cables. Yeah, it doesn't want to go through, so let me just check with the old one really quick. If that one works, which obviously it should, it came out of there. What I'm going to have to do is take this one and some sandpaper and get those edges down. Is the original, and it just slides right in. So yeah, I need to take those edges down. Alright, yeah, so that's all it needed, just a little bit of filing. I hope you could have seen that before, because I forgot to see if I actually showed it, but I'm just going to put this in there like that. And I don't know, I think this just sits on there. Not really sure how it stays or whatever. Might just be spring action. It might also be some kind of press fit that doesn't fit with the new cable. Yeah, so hopefully you can see that that's way bigger than what's currently on there. So that's not going to work as it is. Anyway, so my plan is, I tried looking at some nuts to see if they would work and kind of give this the size that it needs to fit over here and in there. But I think my best option currently is to take some tape. I know that sounds redneck, but either electrical tape, which we have but gets really sticky and nasty, or just some painter's tape, I guess. I don't know, I don't like to use that to do this, but if that's the only option, then what else am I going to do? Yeah, and then to take some shrink wrap tubing and put over it to seal it off, just so it sits in there. Really, honestly, that might be enough. So let me do that. I have a couple of different types of shrink wrap. We're not doing the tape. If the shrink wrap is enough. All right, so that's on there. It's still kind of hot, so I don't know if I should be doing it right now, but see if I can get it in there. I got 2 layers on it. The white is coming off. It might be too thick. It does fit in there, it just doesn't really want to stay. So I think what we need is one more. And it seems to be best to kind of wiggle it, let it go in and not let it catch, because it'll kind of mess up. There we go. It's not perfect, but it'll hold, and that's all I want. So I'm happy about that. That's going to stay in there nice and good. So also, before I forget, I'm going to put this gasket on. Hopefully it stays on. And then we're going to get to the rest of the assembly. So essentially, it's pretty straightforward. I did this wrong, didn't I? The needle was supposed to go underneath. That's okay. Yeah, I'm a dum-dum. So yeah, don't do like me. Yeah, follow everything I said except for that part, because that's not how it goes. Okay, I have to do this a 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm, right? Should be pretty easy now that we've done it actually it's technically the fourth time, because the first time was taking it out to clean this thing. So basically, the needle goes in here, underneath the plate. The plate goes back down. Watch, this is going to be like a speed record or something, because I've done it so many times. Put the clip thing in. Get it straight-ish. Push it in, and then you should just be able to kind of let it seat, and let side seat, and it should be good. It's in. The needle is seated, set, whatever you want to call it, I believe, and as far as I know, that's good, and the spring will kind of keep it pushed. This needs to be pulled out, because when it's on the bike, it's going to be it'll be able to do its thing. So basically, when you use it, it's going to be like that. Yay! So I think for now, I might put this on the bike, just because I need to run the thing, and since I have this already, I'll have to take it off at some point. Whenever I get the rest of the work done to it on the frame and everything. But I don't really want to screw this on the carburetor when it's loose. But I'll show you guys just to show you how it sits. It kind of just goes in the needle jet hole thing. Like that. I think. Right? Oh, there's a little notch that it goes down in, which is on this side. So, sorry, hopefully you can see that. There's a notch right here on this side. You gotta line it up. So, notch lines up. And obviously this would be under way more tension, so it's not exactly how it's gonna be. But anyway, you push it in there. The gasket would not be like that either. You wouldn't want it to anyway. And then put it in there. You screw it. You screw it on. Screw it on, just like that. Oh, I guess you'd probably, at least the way this is situated, the carburetor would turn, just because the cable can't exactly move. I think with the stock setup it would. It's just the rubber of the stuff that I put on there. It wouldn't like it. Although actually no, it's just it doesn't like it. So I'll just turn it until it seats. And it's good. And then you can see that's the idle. That's what it is at idle. When you pull it, well, it's supposed to go up. Oh, it's tightening the knot. That is not what I want it to do. So you pull on it, the slide moves up. Probably want to oil that some. But it does move. That actually moves pretty good, so I mean, I have oil on this a little bit, enough to where it's not going to damage it, but I'd rather have more. But yeah, that's good, isn't it? Isn't it good? And then the adjustment for the idle, I'll put it back, but you can kind of see if it can go in one turn, and another turn. I guess you can't really see it. 3 turns. It lifts that thing a little bit. 4 turns. Yeah, you can kind of see. 5 turns. So I'll go out 5 turns really quick. Yeah, that's a huge difference. So basically, there's like a little ramp on there that controls, I think, like this, and that controls how much air it lets in at idle. But that's gonna be beautiful. It's not perfect, but it's good. Yeah, let's let's go ahead and put this on the bike while we can, because it's basically part of the install and it's going to need to go on there anyway. Alright, tell you what guys, I think what I'm going to do is actually not put the new throttle cable on there with the carburetor, because I forgot that I'm going to have to work on the ignition, and that dangling is not going to be fun. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this off, show you how you would put it on if it was a new one, and whenever I get around to putting that back on, I might do it on camera, I might not, but that way I don't skip anything. I'll at least show you guys how it goes together. Alright, so this should be pretty straightforward. I'll try to get a good angle. It's kind of hard because it's literally chest height. But basically it's just 2 screws, I think. I'll don't even need to take this off. Might need an impact. I mean, this is the impact, but I might need to actually use it as an impact. Let's give this a whack. There, it's turning. This bottom one. We're good. So, just took a little bit. That's all. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, that's what I meant to do. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think it did anything. I'm gonna keep this finish on whatever this is, because it's original and it's basically fine. So yeah, there's no reason for me to paint this. I'm gonna keep it as is. But anyway, back to what we were working on. This should just come right off like that. Yeah, just like that. The rest of it like that, and I'll bring this over to the bench and give you guys a look there, because it's kind of important. Alright, so here's the piece we took off. It's kind of dirty, so I'll probably wash it at some point. But basically, take this one off. It's pretty simple. This goes in like that. It's backwards, so this is the right side. So it basically does that when you pull on it. So to take it off, it's really just as simple as letting this come all the way out here, popping that off, and that's it. So, and then to get the actual cable off, you just unscrew this thing right here like that. And so basically the reverse for assembly, it's like that. Screw that on, and depending on, you might have to adjust it later depending on where the throttle cable sits, but reverse, just pop it in there and make sure the cable guides through that little slot, and put it in there, and you should be good as long as the cable's in that slot. Yeah, it's not under spring tension, so it kind of makes it difficult to show, but anyway, that's the gist of it. And then you put that back on the handlebars and clamp it down. So yeah, that's essentially it. I'll probably clean this off camera because it's just dirt. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the carburetor until we put it on the bike, and then it's not gonna be about the carburetor, it's gonna be about starting the bike. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you found this video somewhat useful, or enjoyable at least. Subscribe for more videos and projects like this, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.